more fucking around. It's Wild Style Radio. Wild Style Radio.
Stand up and shout.
What's up, and welcome to the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show with Whisk and Kev. We're coming to you live from Salisbury Center
You
Studios
gonna remember the name of the night?
in Manassas, Virginia,
Oh,
on the Wild Style Network,
I cut you
fueled
off.
by Monster Energy.
You just had
and it is Sunday Ruined
Sunday
night.
Ruined. Tonight
It's
is
Sunday Ruined. So
on the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show.
on the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show. That's right. It's a metal night here, Sunday night, and we've got a great lineup of bands, headlined by Age of Ruin. Gonna have Beggars, Born of Plagues, and joining us now in the studio, opening up the show, Amnesiac. Welcome.
Amnesiac on the couch for the first time. First podcast too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we get that. We get your
Often.
podcast virginity.
Yes. So let's start with introductions. We'll just start on this end and go around the couch. Introduce yourself. Tell us what part of the band you are, and
I'm Link. I'm a guitarist in Amnesiac.
I'm Irons. I play bass.
I'm Damien, I'm the drummer.
I'm Trevor. I do guitar and backup vocals.
I'm Erilyn, and I do the vocals.
Nice. All right. Excellent.
great. So first thing, we want to know a little bit about the band, and obviously, you know, just looking at you all, you're a little bit younger than Whisk and I are. So, you know, definitely want to know a little bit about how, you know, you got into the music you play.
Oh man. Okay. I have this running theory because, you know, grandparents, the Beatles, you know, big
Yeah?
thing,
Wow.
their generation, and my dad, of course, growing up with my grandparents, they were raised on the Beatles, and my dad, who ended up going off to listening to things like Korn and all that, what was the metal scene in like the 90s.
Sure.
And, you know, I also live with my grandparents, and I'd like to imagine that since I was also raised on the same music, that the pipeline is somewhat similar because of that.
Sure. Yeah. Excellent.
I don't know where it comes from for me, man. I grew up on Russian Zappa.
Can't go wrong with that. That's a
Yeah.
sweet combination. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, mine was my dad. My dad was was the vocalist in a band called Bleed, and he played with a lot of people. Like he opened up for Killswitch and who was the other one? The big band that everybody talks about. I've told you guys, Disturbed. Yeah, he won a Battle of the Bands. He's played with Dying Fetus. He played with like Head PE one time when they were like starting, as well as trying to think. There's so many bands. So like seeing him as a vocalist like really helped me want to do that. But it took a long time to do that because you don't see a lot of like female vocalists in the community. Now you do like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was younger, I never even thought of like a woman being a metal vocalist. So it's very hard. But that's where my love comes for music and like wanting to do this.
Yeah. Cool. Irons.
Irons?
And Link.
A lot of the, like when I was first getting into metal, it came from these two, mainly. But from there, it kind of split off, and I got more into like the stoner metal sludge area. And yeah, that's kind of all the background I have.
This is a good time to mention when this band started. It was just me, Irons, and Link there, and it was like the most basic package of a metal cover band you can imagine, like
Ooh.
Metallica, Megadeth.
Sure.
All good.
My parents are both metalheads, so I've been listening to that since I was like a baby in the car. So that's kind of just been my big thing. A lot of it was Black Label Society, Metallica, Megadeth, Pantera has been my favorite now.
Uh-huh.
So it's just been with me forever, basically.
So,
Awesome.
Damon, you mentioned like the three of you were kind of the foundation of you guys coming together. How did you two come into the picture then?
Okay, it's kind of a complicated story actually, because when the band actually started playing, Link had moved down south just a little bit, so really it was just me and Irons for a little while. We had two other members, Sean and Justice. They were great, but our taste didn't exactly align.
Huh?
And
Creative differences.
creative
Yeah.
differences.
Yeah.
And we played a couple shows, only two, Herndon and Ashburn, respectively. And They ran off to college. You know.
Yeah,
That's,
sure.
that's something that I guess happens with bands our age.
Sure.
It was straight up just we posted that on Instagram that we needed somebody.
Yeah,
you
so
know?
Alright,
I seen that post. There's this person named Lorenzo who was in my English class who's a part of like the local scene. They were in my English class last year, and I seen that they'd posted, and it was just like their posters from the Amnesiac account, and I was like, we need a new vocalist. And that night, I like took hours typing out the message, and I deleted it. I was like, I shouldn't send it, and I finally sent it. And that whole night, I was so nervous. I was like, I should delete the message. I'm not going to be able to do it. And they got back to me, and they were like, yeah. And I went over and met them, and then I've been a part of it ever since. But it was very scary. It was very fun though.
Yeah.
I remember exactly where I was when I sent the message. I was at Home Depot. I was at Home Depot getting paint for the senior parking spot stuff that they do at the high school, where you just paint your parking spot. And I remember seeing the post. I saw it earlier the day, and it popped back up, and I was like, you know what, sure, why not? And I texted my dad saying like, hey, should I do this? And he says, yeah. And so I just sent like a short message saying that like I've been playing and I like experienced with live music before, and so I'd love to be considered. And then they messaged me back like 2 days later.
I didn't think Trevor trying to join the band was real. I knew he attends the School of Rock, and I've seen him play at some of the Battle of the Bands like solo, and I was just like, when he messaged, I thought, man, he must just be filling in because this is what he does.
I remember we were in the basement, and I was like, so am I in the band? And then he asks and says, is it like part-time or like are you like gonna be like full? And I said, yeah, no, I'm like here to stay. And yeah.
You wanted a commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, but it clicked then. I mean, it sounds like
Oh, absolutely.
love at
Yeah.
first sight then, and everything came together.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially because it was at like the end of summer and like right before school started, we'd like be together 8 hours like every Saturday. And,
8
like,
hours, yeah.
Yeah.
That was our practice.
It was our practice, and it just turned into a hangout for the last like 2-3 hours.
Watching horror stuff.
Yeah, just watching
Yeah.
scary videos and like eating like Hot Pockets,
No, it was pizza rolls.
pizza rolls.
So you all are local to this area. What
The four of us are.
for? So what?
I live out in Warrenton. It's not
Okay.
too far.
Yeah, they live in Ashburn. I live in Sterling, and she lives out in Herndon.
Okay. And so still in high school.
Yeah,
I
we're
just
all-
got out early, so I'm like able to like hang out with these guys again.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all like graduating this year, I believe.
Yep, we're all
Okay.
seniors.
So what school in Sterling? I live in Sterling.
Oh,
so
Potomac Falls.
okay, Potomac
Yeah.
Falls.
Are you going to school in Sterling? Is
I am not. No, no. Those years are long gone. But we had another band, another local band that was here for one of the Friday night metal nights, Seculos.
Oh, Seculos.
yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, and they, you know, my
Sterling.
kids all went to Parkview,
Yep.
and so they're from Parkview, and they're like, "Oh, I know your son."
And we were their first podcast too, right?
We were.
Yeah.
Yes, we broke their cherry too.
I didn't. You said that. I want to go down that road.
Yeah, okay. So, how long have you guys been playing in your current setup?
Like 8
September.
Months.
Yeah.
Just a few months.
Okay.
We really just the time that we had before school, we really took advantage of, and we wrote a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And we had our first show like a month and a half after we started
yeah.
writing.
Wasn't
It's-
it Halloween?
Yeah, it was on Halloween at the VFW in McLean, and that was an insane first show.
Yeah.
Show there was
So many people. Like I believe it was like
gosh.
over 140.
Yeah, 140 over, like just doing the math from door money,
Yeah.
like not counting the people we let in for free in the other bands.
That
Real.
was the one with Seculus and Greenhead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Greenhead, Seculos, Sacricide, and 2 months later.
That's
Okay.
right.
Nice.
So, like, tell me how it works for you then. With you said you've done a lot of writing. What is that process for you guys? How does that look?
It is all over
Hot
the
Pockets
place.
and horror.
It's-
Hot Pockets
Yeah.
and horror movie. That is I think has been a big contributor to the music since the beginning.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has been doodle on guitar until you find something we like.
Yeah.
It's always you reach into that pocket of emotions until you can write something out on the drums or guitar or bass or whatever that really just clicks with however you're feeling. And then just you try to get together with each other and build on that idea until you have a final product.
Nice, nice.
And a lot of times it happens when they're in guitar class and they just send a message.
It's like, oh, here we wrote
We
this.
just wrote a gross metal riff on a $80 classical guitar.
Yeah.
Nice.
So very collective then.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Totally.
That's good. Yeah.
And so when you guys are gigging, is it all you doing all of the original tunes you guys have put together, or a mix of with some covers?
It's always with some covers. We always have to throw it back to our roots, and it's usually classic punk and early metal, which you'll hear some of tonight. Just saying.
All right. Yeah. So you are covering tonight then some
Yes.
songs. Some
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Song,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. A teaser? Can I ask? Name of a song?
I'll tell you.
Being a classic metal guy, maybe.
I'll just say it's off of the album Paranoid, Black Sabbath.
Oh, cool. Very cool. All right. Yeah. Can't go wrong with that.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it. Everyone knows it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. You want to queue up
Yeah, that's what I was seeing. If
John was
Yeah.
paying attention out there?
So-
all right, we do this from time to time. I don't know. We're jumping in. So, we have different conversations with different bands. And we also, so I guess maybe I will admit that I've been a teacher. So you might recognize this from your, classrooms experiences lately. I like to do little games from time to time, just to kind of like change the course of conversation.
Gotcha.
We were talking about general admission shows and sold out shows. We were specifically talking about an Anthrax show that we were in attendance in just by coincidence before we even met.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of metal, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was at that show and I was at this show, and, it just brings people together immediately.
Yeah.
So we were just doing a quick would you rather, and everybody knows that game, right? So that's an easy one.
Yeah.
And it's framed around general admission experiences and your preferences and tastes. Because this, I find, like when we talk to other people, it changes from person to person. Yep. So get to hear from you guys what you think on your would you rather. So I think John's going to be able to throw up a would you rather question on a screen.
Here we go.
And we can just kind of like chat this out.
Yeah.
So we're having a general admission experience here tonight at the Salisbury Center. We're going to hope for it to be a sold out
Salisbury Center, yeah.
experience.
Crazy.
Yeah, right? Right?
So,
Kevin,
would you rather
would you
attend a sold out seated show or a sold out general admission show?
Sold out general admission standing show.
Man,
like,
that was quick. That
Yeah.
was immediate.
It's
There's like
fun.
no hesitation on that.
It definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just gonna say like agreed. I mean, for me, I just like being close to the musicians. It's much more of an experience than if I'm sitting in the back. Someone stands up in front of me, I'm out of it.
Yeah.
You can't see.
What if you had the seats? Like, what if you bought the seats that were up front? You knew that you had them before you ever walked in. Would that satisfy that?
Is there a pit?
I guess with seats there couldn't be a pit, right? I guess you were talking about that Slayer show where there was a pit anyway because they were Slayer fans.
Because Slayer fans don't care.
That's what they do. Exactly. Yeah.
Although when we went to Rage, there was a pit on the floor, and they were seated.
Yes.
It wasn't I call it a
Rage Against the Machine.
a millennial pit, which is totally different than a real metal pit. But yeah, it was the bouncy pit.
I think that's maybe what the would you rather question is driving at. Do you need the pit, or would you rather not have the pit, but still even have the access?
At the very, very least at our shows,
You need the
You need the
pit.
pit.
You
All right.
need the
Always
pit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's kind of another, another angle too, right? Like if you're playing, I get it. Like you want that audience reaction. You got to get that. feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Irons, you cool with all that? Everybody like jumped in right away. They kind of just blasted ahead of you.
Yeah, I think a lot of the pit, a more active audience is where all the energy comes from and the motivation to want to play there,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 And no matter if you're in the pit or not, that energy is like an unmatched experience. You're not
Unmatched.
having that at a
Yeah.
a seated show.
Yeah.
It's not happening. It's not even going to reach half of the energy.
Yeah.
All right. You guys are so agreeable. So, like, there was no like contentiousness in that situation or conversation in any kind of way.
that's why we're a band.
I see that. Right. That's the collective songwriting. I see how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, John, we got another one? Got another question
Well,
up there? I'm sorry.
what do you-
We didn't talk
what's
about
your
our
thought?
preferences.
Yeah.
You gonna ask me?
Yeah.
You like, old man, do you want a seat? Is that what you're asking me? Like,
Well, I have an opinion.
we have a lot of like concert stories because we've been to a lot of shows over a lot of years. And so we have a lot of good and bad experiences, probably in both situations.
Yep.
I'm going to go with, I'm still good with standing, general admission standing, not seated.
For me, it depends on
how
many-
late you're going to get there.
Yeah, how many people they're going to cram in there. So, for example, the Anthrax show we were talking about,
Yeah, that was crazy.
they oversold the place.
Fillmore always does that, and I hate
Yes,
that about the Fillmore.
and,
I love the Fillmore in Silver Springs. If you love the Fillmore, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like if I just ragged your place, but they oversell those shows.
Yeah, and we got there a good hour or so before the show started, the first band,
Yeah.
and they weren't going to let us in.
Yeah. Yes.
So to be that jammed in, because you do like to go to the bar,
right.
and you do have to go to the bathroom,
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So
To attend the
to be
facilities.
at an oversold general admission show,
Yeah.
you run the risk of running into that guy that doesn't want to let you back.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, no.
Those people suck.
We mentioned that we saw suicidal tendencies at the Fillmore over the summer.
Yeah.
People were not great in that one. It was
No,
so
Yeah, that one
overpacked
was-
and absolutely
Oversold. They
oversold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do it to that place.
It was easily could have been labeled as a sold out show, but
Yeah.
it was terrible.
Yeah.
And people just
People there were rude.
rude, horrible.
Yeah.
And even the pit at during End It, they had pushed everyone standing up front, like all the way. I was at the barrier, and the pit had totally pushed
to the
everyone
front.
at the front of the barrier into the barrier. We were all getting squished.
Yeah. Yeah.
But totally oversold.
Yeah. Yeah.
but like Alter Bridge at the Fillmore, that wasn't as full.
No.
So that was a great general admission show.
Yeah. We managed that one. Yeah.
So for me, I could go either
Look,
way.
I can go either way too. So you know me, I can be a little late from time to time. So when you have the seat, you got the spot on the floor, so that's cool.
Right.
That's what I like about the seat. You don't have to like fight your way into the chaos. Of that suicidal tendency show. All right, John. These guys got to get on stage. Give us another question. All right, go to the next one. Because we kind of talked that out. All right.
Ooh.
Would you rather be in the mosh
This is
pit
where we all disagree.
or be on the rim of the mosh pit? All right, yeah.
I kind of like the rim of the mosh pit just because it's really fun, like pushing people who are like
Yeah.
running around and stuff.
Yeah.
But like if you're in the middle, like getting caught in the middle of everybody, like I'm not that big. I'm like 5 feet tall, so like I get crushed, and it's really scary. But like I like being on the outside. But going in the pit, like for the more local shows, I'll go in the pit. It's a lot less rough.
You can go either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It depends on the show.
For me, it's what's happening that day. If I'm playing, there's no shot you're catching me in that pit. 'Cause that's too much energy for even me to expend. But if it's like if it's not a hardcore show where I know I'm gonna get bones broken, if it's like a metal show, I'm jumping in the pit. Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm always gonna be in the pit.
Trevor's always in the pit.
gonna pick that option.
The pit is just so fucking fun.
It's
It
so
is
fun,
fun.
and obviously I'm a bigger guy.
Yeah.
I can hold my own, and it's a lot of fun. And I feel like almost I get hurt more when I'm not in the pit by
Yeah?
people like
Yes, the
We're just
surge that like
assholes.
kind of sways
Yeah.
back and forth.
like when you're literally in the middle of the pit, you're fine.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
that's like the safest place to be.
yeah, yeah.
I agree with Erlen for most of the part. I stay on the outside. I'm also a small guy, and I always end up being the one thrown in the pit.
Literally,
So
it's so bad.
I'm not that into violence, and I don't really want to get hit.
Hey,
Yeah,
bro.
I do not want to be
Like-
like kicked.
The Ramstein
Please do not
concert, I
kick
don't
my
want that
face.
happening to me.
Hey, at some of our shows, even the rim of the pit wasn't safe, man.
The
Oh my God,
dude at the
Jesus
house
and
guy.
Ice
Yeah.
Spice.
We have a name for this guy. Jesus guy.
Yeah.
It was our
He's
first
dressed up
Halloween
as
show.
Jesus.
Dressed up as Jesus, but with corpse paint. He broke someone's nose.
Yeah, spin
People had to be
kicking.
escorted out. He was spin kicking, and I was at the edge of the place, and I was.
That's how I broke somebody's nose.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah.
yeah, he was just kicking
High
people's
kicks.
faces.
Yeah.
But man, I was next to like the PA monitor at a really small local show, right by the stage while the opener was playing. Straight in the ribs, wind knocked out of me. It was
Yeah,
Well, we wanna
he was
talk
being rough.
Like I was literally like next to Damien, like near the side, and next thing you know, I see Damien just fly like straight towards the wall. I mean, like slammed into like the PA, and I was like, oh my God, are you okay?
He was a big dude.
Like he was just like targeting everybody who wasn't in the pit. Anybody who wasn't in the pit, he would go up and like target them specifically.
Well, hey, karma's a thing. We want to talk about what Trevor did with the Jesus dude.
Oh yeah, he just like I was getting really pissed off, obviously, because like he's like literally like he's doing so much for nothing, and he's like jumping off the stage. It's different if you're jumping off the stage and crowd surfing,
Stage,
right.
a stage about.
that so he would jump off and he would just like Superman punch it like into the crowd. And when he did it to our side, I picked him up midair and I slammed him onto the ground.
You helped gravity along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, I heard that. It was a violent noise between him hitting the floor. Ooh, I know he was hurting after.
Yeah, no, it knocked him out for two. It put him out for 2 songs, but then he was back in.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes that has to be taken into your own hands.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Self-policing.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're in a punk scene. Expect justice.
All right. Last one. Last would you rather?
Are you going to be in the pit?
Oh, I keep forgetting us. I'm on the edge. I can't. Kevin and I used to be in the pit a lot, like back in the day. But I feel like you and I've probably have grown out of that.
Definitely grown out of it.
I feel like I'm expecting your answer to be the same as mine. I didn't mean to answer for you.
Oh, I would be on the. I mean, back in the day,
I do know.
I'd be in the middle of it.
You actually led the pit,
and I'm a much smaller guy than I used to be.
Following him.
So,
yeah.
But there's a definite change in culture.
Yeah.
With the pits, and I think it goes all the way back to Limp Bizkit and the frat pits were starting.
Yes.
That everybody thought it was. Well, I'm going to elbow this guy
Superman
in the face.
punching.
Superman punching.
Spin kicking.
It used to be, you look out for your fellow moshers, and if they go down, you're grabbing them, you're pulling them up.
You're right. You're right about that.
Hey,
and that's changed.
Yeah.
That's
You're right
something
about that.
We try to push that.
We preach that on stage all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Someone
You
falls, pick him
You are
up.
right about that.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of times now they see someone down there, that person is going to try and stomp them or kick
Yeah.
them or whatever. So yeah, much too old to get stomped and kicked on.
All right. Last would you rather, and we'll get you out of here because you guys got to play.
Yep.
Would you rather, if you're in a general admission, standing room only, be next to the angry dude who wants to fight over your space, or be next to the dude who can't stop busting ass?
I'm gonna be honest.
Yo, you got to be honest.
It's the dude busting. I've smelled worse. I've smelled worse at shows, man. It's that one guy that's in the mosh pit. He comes over, stands next to you, all sweaty.
Like, oh my
now
God.
he
Yeah.
touches your shoulder.
Yeah.
You're now half
Rubs
wet,
off.
and it's just that when that BO hits your nose, it's a whole nother experience.
So that you don't want to be around that. You want to. You'd rather be next to the angry guy that wants to fight over space, doing the spin kicking.
Oh no.
It's a tough question.
Right?
Really
Yeah, that's why we saved the best for last.
I mean, I guess I've smelled worse.
I'd rather be next to the stinky guy because
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with another Jesus dude and get back with a broken nose because some guy was whining about a spot. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
It's better to be
Yeah.
safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the guy that wants the space, I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have the space.
I'm a
But
big
Trevor,
guy.
you were the one issuing justice to the.
I know, 'cause-
I was surprised. Like
That's
I
a
thought
man
you
after
were
my
gonna
own
bend
heart.
on that one. Yeah, I thought you were going to be the one that was. Yeah,
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
fight the guy.
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, when we went to Disturbing the Peace in Baltimore a few weekends ago, and we saw some hardcore bands, and man, this guy, he's just pushing into the
Slammed him.
crowd. He's just flinging his arms everywhere,
Yeah.
and I like push him back, but I also get pushed from behind into him, and the guy just wraps his arm, like he puts
Like,
me in a
puts him in a
chokehold and slams me
chokehold.
on the ground.
We all like turned around and we were like, "Oh my god!" And
Yeah.
like you didn't look hurt, but your face was just
I
like
was just-
pure shock. You were like, what?
'Cause, like it didn't hurt, but I was like on the ground, and I was like,
It's like,
did
why
that
did he
just
do
happen?
that?
Yeah, so like that sucks. I don't want that to happen. So I'd much rather choose the smelly guy.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys are all unanimous. It sounds like Irons. You in on that too? You smelly guys? All right. All right. You too?
Yeah.
Really? Wow. All right.
This was
all right.
clearly spurned on by the extreme experience.
You
had.
know me. I'm considered a lightning rod. Like angry people always go at me, and I don't know why. I don't do any. I don't feel like I do anything that projects violence towards them. But Kevin has seen it. Like I just in fact, with Guns N' Roses this summer, dude went after me there, like for no reason.
Really?
Yeah,
Guns
totally.
N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses, yes.
And they wouldn't
Yeah.
let me get near him.
Yeah, because I have to keep Kevin away because Kevin will reciprocate. So like I'm a peacekeeper. You know what I mean? I'm trying to keep it all even keel. Kevin won't go there. He'll keep it even keel by like ending the conversation quickly.
I think being a short guy, it's just
Depends
easier
on how
for
much-
them to throw us rather than a bigger person.
Yeah.
But we've been next to the stinky guy, and we were definitely next to the stinky guy at Extreme.
You were.
Yeah, definitely. That was wicked. I don't know. Like, I probably would take the stinky guy. I'm probably with you guys. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So it's great meeting you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So much.
First timer. We usually don't do games with first timers, but
Yeah.
we figured we're actually gonna, since this was a general mission Sunday Ruin show, we were gonna really pretty much do that for everyone. And I know it's
Yeah.
being piped down to them, so they cheated. They saw the questions. You guys didn't see that, so it's all spontaneous.
We've got a
with
few
you.
extras.
Yeah.
So before you guys break away, tell us and the audience where they can find more about you guys, where you're playing, if you got a Bandcamp page with some of your songs up on it.
Instagram has all of our stuff. We try our best to keep it as updated as possible as soon as we get information. But
Yeah, all of our shows.
our Bandcamp
music.
is not the same.
Spotify.
Yeah, same as Facebook.
Spotify.
Facebook is not.
Easy to find us on Spotify. But we have tons of upcoming shows all the time. We pat ourselves on the back for keeping up all the shows consistently.
That's great.
And always check us out in the McLean, Herndon, Leesburg, Ashburn.
Manassas?
Yeah.
Manassas.
Maybe again.
I mean, if you
Maybe
invite
you guys
us
want
back,
us back.
we'll take it.
Yeah, because we're on like our little mini spring tour or whatever
Spring
with
tour,
all of
spring
our
tour. This is as far as we're
shows,
going.
on our Instagram, and you can just see all of our shows. We
Yeah.
have most of the dates there. I think some of them have changed or we've changed places.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like yesterday.
yeah.
Awesome.
Woodbridge.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to catching you guys
Absolutely.
during
Can't
your
wait to
set.
play.
Yeah.
Hope to see you back here at the Salisbury Center really soon.
And thanks for coming up,
Definitely.
especially like, right before you guys played. I know it's a stressful
Yeah.
thing, so thank you
Nerve-wracking.
guys for coming up for that.
Of course.
Give out
Thank
your
you.
Instagram and like name and everything for the crowd, for the audience.
It's at Amnesiac with 2 C's and an underscore.
Yeah. And just our Spotify.
Amnesiac.
Amnesiac. Yep.
And we will tag you guys on this podcast, so that if you're seeing this podcast and you want to refer back to their show and their materials, you'll see their handle there.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Going to take a quick break here on the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show.